It's January the 1st, 2021. This is the very first recording for this new channel, Business Questions. I decided to focus straight away on how to start a business in this really sort of unspectacular times. Many of you may have been made redundant, been furloughed, looking to the future to see what you can do. It's traumatic for so many people, and I just want to help you. I've been self-employed for 20 years now, and I've learned a thing or two over the years, and I just want to share that with you. This is the first in a series of starting up a business, really looking at 10 essential points. I'm going to go over all 10 points in more detail in subsequent videos, so please do hit that subscribe button below. That'll also really help get the channel out there for YouTube's algorithm. It's really important to do that because there's so many people globally who would really benefit from this advice of thinking of starting up their video. Number 1. What problem are you solving with your business? Do you have a service you're providing, or perhaps you have a product? The main thing to think about is that going to solve a problem for someone? If it is, then you're off to a really good start. Is it already being done currently? If so, again, that's fantastic. It proves that it works. You just have to make your offering the best it can possibly be, perhaps a little bit different from others. Be yourself. People buy from people. That's really important. So if you can really hone that product in and put your personality into it all, you really will be in a great place to start selling it. And of course, you're going to be very passionate about it. Number 2. Customer is king. We've all heard of this, haven't we? But really, it's very true in business, because customers are what give us our feedback. They may be reviewing your product or service on various sites. Sometimes they've got some very valid points. Sometimes there are some people out there who really have a very wacky idea, and perhaps they just don't get it. So you do have to filter through. But if you're getting lots of people saying, we really don't like this about the product, then really you've got to address that and make some changes. But listen to them. But don't listen necessarily to friends and family, because they're always going to like what you do. They're going to be positive because they naturally want to support you. So have a filter on when you're speaking to family and friends. Speak to people you don't know and really get an honest opinion. It really will be very beneficial to you. Number 3. Be honest about your weak points. Obviously, I don't know where you've come from in life, but it's very rare for someone to be the complete package. We have to work on things. For myself, I have various weak spots I'm working on. One is YouTube. I've never had a YouTube channel before. I've never spoken on YouTube. So I'm learning as I go along. And I'm seeking guidance on that. And I'm looking for various tutorials. I actually have some lessons booked with some people coming up in January to really help me improve what I'm doing. I speak very quickly. I need to learn to slow down. And I'm not great on the bookkeeping. I find it a chore. I want to be out there hustling, out there selling. So I've really got to get better at the financials and really understanding my business. Number 4. Write a business plan. Age-old advice, but so important. It's going to lay out the fundamentals of what your business actually is, what it does, who your competitors are, and what your strengths and weaknesses are. Is your business actually viable? So you need to work that out. You need to work out your pricing structures, which we're going to come on to a little bit later on. You can always come back to your business plan to see what direction you want to go, because that business plan will have targets in there. It may be that you want to have turned over £10,000 within 6 months. Perhaps you want to do 100,000 in 6 months. It doesn't matter. But write it down and have a clearly defined path in how you're actually going to get there. It's a very large subject, business plans, and when we do a video on that, we go into a lot more depth. Number 5. Invest in a good website. It's your shop window. So important to get that right. People are going to come to you. They're going to have that first impression. And we all know those really count. So, sure, you can do a DIY one. If you're very competent, you can use WordPress as a hosting platform. If you're less confident, speak to a professional. Perhaps there's a web developer out there who's been on furlough. Perhaps they can help you. They need extra money. You can provide that for them. And very important though, just be realistic with what you expect from within your budgets. You know, It's the age-old phrase, you know, people want to have a Rolls Royce but on a Ford budget. It just doesn't happen. Leave the super duper website for later on down the line. Just make sure it's very clean, elegant, and it works. Look at the functionality of the website. Again, we're going to talk more later on about websites. Subscribe to the button below to make sure you don't miss, and tick that bell so you get an alert just when we do publish those videos. Number 6. This is something I see so many people do incorrectly. They do wrong. They don't charge enough for their service. They look and see that Joe Bloggs is charging 20. They go and charge, or undercut them, we do 18. You're just on a motorway, a highway to the bottom. Really believe in your pricing and what you're doing. Stand up to it. People want quality. There are obviously some exceptions, but generally, make sure you value yourself. And think about the future growth as well, and where you want your business to go. There's no point in selling something for $50 now, and you're making a margin on it, if then later on down the line you wish to go to a wholesaler. Is there enough margin for you to make a profit and for the wholesaler to make a profit? You have to think about these things in advance. Think about also what it's going to cost for shipping if you have that. If you're offering a service, then you're selling your time or your knowledge. You may have spent 20 years learning about IT infrastructure. That has a huge value. What benefits do you bring companies which you hope to work with, or individuals? How much money are you going to save them? Perhaps you could work on a percentage basis, but just make sure you are getting a fair price. Number 7, it's a common mistake to wait until everything is absolutely perfect in your mind before you start your business. You haven't got to do that. Just get it ready to go to market. Especially if you're making a product, get it so it's functional and it works, and get it out there. Then make improvements, because you're going to get so much feedback from your clients and what they experience, as well as your service. You know, if you want to be a photographer, everyone picks up a camera and calls themselves a professional, but actually very, very few people are producing work of a professional standard. They just call themselves professional because they can get a little bit of money for it all. But they're learning on the job and they will progress. I think I was amazing as a photographer. I wasn't. It took me years and years of practice and really looking at the sort of 10,000 hour rule to get competent at what I was doing. So get it to a standard where it is saleable, then do it, and then build on it afterwards. Coming at number 8 is understanding your financials. Really important, because you don't want to be making a loss. It sounds really, really obvious. But at the very basic level, know that widget A costs X amount to buy or make, and what it costs to sell it, or what are your margins. How many do you have to sell in a month to actually make the money you require to live? How long can you give yourself before you start making that level of income? And what investment is needed to do that? Is it worth that risk? Or could you buy something and then sell it on to start with? Just think about those things and look at what you're doing with financials, and if you need to become, or obviously the tax implications as well. Make sure you're looking at the tax. You don't want to end up with a huge tax bill at the end of the year because you haven't kept track and you've spent all your money. Number 9, sales are king. We can get so caught up in the intricacies of our business, in the product, the design, or what we're doing, making it as good as we need to do it all. We forget to sell. If you don't sell what you're doing, absolutely pointless. You might as well give up and just stay at home. You've got to do it all. You've got to teach yourself sales. Buy books. Get online. We're going to help you on this website later on with some videos on selling. We're going to speak to some fantastic salespeople, really some tremendous advice which is really accelerate your learning. But I was once talking to a hairdresser, and she was explaining her mum once gave her some really, really good sound business advice, because she was, sitting down one Monday. I've got no clients, they all had their hair done on Friday, on a Saturday, got no one today. And her mother quite rightly said, get off the sofa, put some shoes on, and go and deliver leaflets. What great advice. She's out there, she's marketing through her leaflets and selling. If you spent a day doing a leaflet drop, if that's applicable to your business, and you can approach 1,000 homes, put through the letterbox, if you can get 0.5% of those people, what a day that's been. Replicate that, absolutely fantastic. In fact, what I recommend is contacting at least 10 or 20 prospective clients every day. Because if people don't know what you're offering, how can they possibly buy it? Which really brings me on nicely to point number 10, final point, is understand marketing, what it does and its purpose. Really, marketing is there to let the world know what you're doing. It's quite different from selling. Marketing will bring people to your website to phone you up. Then you go into the sales stage. Unless, of course, you're selling off the page in a newspaper or a magazine. But marketing, again, companies have huge marketing departments. It's vital to really understand what marketing entails. And social media is marketing. You're putting yourself out there. Understand the social channels. Where are your customers looking? If you're selling business to business, perhaps LinkedIn is the most viable route. If you're selling chocolates, firstly, please send me some. I'd love to try some, talk about your business with you. But also, Instagram. What a great place to do that. If you have constant news items coming in, then, you know, you're a PR agency, you want to set that up, then obviously places like Twitter, absolutely fantastic. I hope you've had some benefit from these 10 points. It's my first video. I'm going to get better at this. I think I'm moving my hands around a lot. I don't know, but I'm human. And it's not perfect. My background, it's not perfect. But it's good enough for what I'm doing. So please do subscribe and please share as well. We really need people who've been affected by COVID and want to start their own business to be able to do so. And I really want to help them. I'm going to go over all of the 10 points again in the subsequent days, and I really hope you've got something from it. It's given you some food for thought, a little bit of understanding, and when we go through it all, everything will become a lot clearer.